Where did the name FunZach come from?
Oh man, FunZach goes back to I know the exact date actually. It goes back to 8/8 of '08, August 8th of 2008. It's one of my best friend in the whole world, Julian. It's his birthday, 20th birthday. So quite a momentous occasion. And on this night, this is back when I was living in Minneapolis, my ex-girlfriend was throwing the party for my good friend Julian's birthday. And like me and my ex-girlfriend were not on good terms at this point, but I wasn't going to miss my best friend's birthday. So she kind of told me like, you can't come. Like, you can't come to my house. I don't like you. I was like, okay. And obviously I'm not going to not go. So I was like, all right, I got to go, but I have to show up and I have to be the most fun person at this party so that if she does try to kick me out, the whole party's like, no, you can't kick him out. He's the life of the party right now. And so that was my whole philosophy that night. I showed up and I just lit it up. I was, lived up to my fun potential. And one of my homies that night was just like, damn, like, bro, what's up with you tonight? Like, you're super fun. Like, you're FunZach tonight. I was like, fuck yeah, I am. Yeah, since then it's just stuck and like it's grown and like I got, a whole fun philosophy on life and fun families, just a group of people all over the world who, kind of belong to this collective of like-minded individuals. Like, obviously we're not related by blood or anything, but we're related by fun. Like, you part of the fun fam, dog. Like, a lot of other friends that we know, they're part of the fun fam. Some core members been there from the beginning, but, if you got fun in your heart and you're not a fucking asshole, it's good potential you could be part of the fun family.
So, we're in Corona times. How's that going for you? You just lost your job. What the fuck are you doing?
Corona times are the worst of times, but maybe the change that's needed to bring us to the best of times. But yeah, it's been, I'm not going to say like all whack, It sucks that I lost my job, but jobs come and go. Fun is forever. And I've been having a lot of fun. Some not so fun days because, there's a lot of anxiety permeating through the population. You can feel it in the city, walking outside. Everyone's a little more on edge. Especially in my neighborhood, I've seen a lot more homeless people, a lot more junkies on the street, shooting up, popping pills, middle of the daytime while I'm walking my dog. My neighborhood's always kind of had that, a little bit of that, but definitely in Corona times brought more of that, and it's real sad to see. You don't want to see the people out here suffering, turning to fiends. Leans. How they lean.
The heroin lean?
Yeah. It's not a great thing to see on the street. You want people to be okay, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people are okay right now.
No, of course. Are you at least getting unemployment money? Or do you have like a severance package?
Nah, I don't got unemployment yet. I got that severance. I got 9 weeks of severance. Okay. So pretty good, not bad, I've never really had that before where it's like, here's some money, if we let you go. I don't know, corporate America, I guess that's how it works.
Yeah.
So I'm not complaining, it's great. I feel very fortunate to be able to just like still collect a paycheck every 2 weeks, but have the freedom to do whatever I want.
Yeah. So speaking of doing whatever you want, you just reached out to me a couple of weeks ago about doing a couples project, Corona couples project.
Yep. Calling it, pretty sure this is going to be the title, but calling it Pandemic Partners, because it's really more so like not just couples. Couples feels kind of like high school, like we're going to homecoming. Like partners is like you really lived through some shit together, and yeah, let's talk about it. So it's like a photo video project. It's all like pretty COVID compliant, I guess. Like there's no, direct contact. I pull up on the partners, on the couple, outside their building, take some photos, do some video. It's all very like natural. Try to keep it pretty genuine, no like glamour shots or wedding portrait style. It's more just like, show me what you got. And then do a little interview just about like how the couple met, how they started, their union, and what it's been like living through this year, since we all got a lot of unique stories and situations coming out of this year. And it's been really interesting talking to people. I've done 3 so far.
Now, what have you learned so far about, like, are there any patterns between couples, between partners? Is there like does it ever get awkward? I guess on set per se, like, does it ever get awkward where people start to bicker a little too much and it's almost like you become a third party in their bullshit?
It hasn't gotten to that point like fully. I can feel it sometimes going that direction of like I'm asking people pretty intimate stuff about their relationship. And sometimes some of the couples that are newer, these are things they might not have discussed with each other yet. So there can be some pretty intense, intimate words exchanged. And it's interesting to navigate that. But I feel like with my experience throughout my career, like I've honed my skills on like making people comfortable in whatever setting, regardless of what the subject is. So that's really what I'm looking for too, is like that real shit. I don't want anybody to like gloss over and give me the, like surface level version of their relationship. I want to hear about the trials and the tribulations and the bullshit and the like, we broke up, we hated each other for this month because we were stuck together inside too long, but now we made it through. And I guess patterns, like that's really what I got from people, from the 3 couples that I've so far talked to, is this Corona time, 2020, has really like shown people what they really like care about and what really means something to their lives and what they want to include in their lives and what they might want to exclude from their lives. Like it's really kind of like open people's eyes to like what I can live with, what I can live without, what do I need to be happy. And especially when it comes to a relationship, that like time spent together, intense time spent together, really shows you in a partner like what you're able to tolerate from each other, like what are the boundaries, what are the limits for each of you individually. And so that's been really interesting, is like hearing about people's struggles, but also how those struggles have made their bond even stronger. Mm-hmm. So it's been, all the conversations have been really enlightening, and like I feel like a little bit like an interviewer / like psychologist, because I'm not just sitting there asking question after question. I'm like, these questions are thought starters and conversation starters, so it's not just okay, done with that subject, move on. It's like, oh, like you touched on something there, let's explore that a little further, So it's been a very interesting project so far.
Yeah, you should be charged. Like, you interviewed me and Lonnie, and that was very primo. That was almost like a little therapy session. I mean, we talked for whatever the voice note was like, I don't know, 50 minutes, I think, that I sent you, 48
Definitely
minutes.
Longest one so far.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
I like to talk.
Hey, it's all good.
Yeah.
They've been fun to go through. It like, so far, because I've gotten all of the photos for the first 3 sessions edited, and I've started on the video, just like breaking down the interview conversation. And like, it feels to me like, when you buy a CD when you were in high school, and like it was one of those CDs that had like a bunch of skits on it, and like one of the skits was just some random people like talking on the street about some random shit. And this is that, except it's just like a bunch of random partners talking about like their lives together this year. But like you can hear, because I've been doing all the audio recording just like through voice note, so that I don't have to like put my audio equipment on somebody, like the lav mic and all that. And it's been sounding really good. Like it's, sounds real intimate. You can hear the people really clearly, but you still pick up a little street noise since we're shooting like on the front steps of buildings. So it's like real authentic, and it it has that genuine feel that like I'm actually going for, where it's not just some like superficial whatever conversation. It's like, oh, these people are talking about some real shit that I can relate to.
Yeah, it's kind of like it has the same appeal that the Humans in New York Instagram would have,
Yeah, for sure.
because it's very natural, and it's like, it almost seems like you just came across these people and were like, oh, you guys seem interesting. Like, let's chat. Like, you guys are cute. What's your story?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to feel like. Yeah, like you when you listen to this or watch the video or whatever, you feel like you just like pulled up on these people like I did, and you're actually sitting there like having this conversation with them. So
Yeah, it's like voyeuristic / fly on the wall.
Yep.
That. So, when I first met you, you were a part of the larger Minneapolis skate crew that I became friends with, actually before I even moved here. But yeah, like Mojo, Spencer, all those dudes.
Yep.
And when I met you, I think Mojo was like, oh yeah, Zach's also into video. He just got a job or internship at Complex. But before that, when I finally met you and talked to you, you had told me that you actually used to live in Philly.
Yep.
How do you go, like, why did you not go straight to New York from Minneapolis? And like, what, did you grow up making films or short skits and all that?
Yeah, so I grew up, like, what really got me into doing what I do now is I took a photography class in high school. It was like black and white photography. My dad lent me his old like 35 millimeter film camera. And so we'd take photos, full ass rolls of photos, like develop them with the chemicals, like had a dark room, all that. And I was super into that. I thought it was great. I would like, the photography teacher was super chill, and she'd be like, let us just kind of skip class and take pictures, because like we got our work done. It's just, you know, we didn't feel like sitting in class. And if our assignments are go to take pictures, it's like, let me go take some pictures. But one of the assignments at the end of the year was to make a 10-minute short film. And it was like, you make it whatever you want it to be. But of course, you know, it's a high school class, so it's like your short film has to have some kind of moral or message at the end. And so me and my homie, we like were super into the idea, and we made this like short film just about like kind of this outcast kid in school. I was actually the star, you know, my acting debut. I think I killed it, you know, still to this day. I got like the super low res SD version on my desktop. It's called Jump, you know, South High School, Minneapolis. Dig in the archives, you might be able to find that joint. But yeah, that was like super fun. I really enjoyed doing that. And so out of high school, when I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do for life, my like college focus, whatever, I went to a liberal arts college in St. Paul, Minnesota called Hamlin University. Just did the like 1 year of liberal arts, whatever, lived in the dorms. And I didn't really like it. I didn't fuck with living in the dorms. I didn't fuck with all the like authority that you had to have like looking over you. I felt like a little kid like back in like summer camp or some shit. And so I was like, fuck this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not into paying this much money either, because I was working like a full-time job to help pay for school, because that shit was hella expensive. And I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I told my parents I wanted to not go back to that university the next year, and I wanted to go to community college, because I had done out of high school, it's called like PSEO, post-secondary education option, I think, where it's like if you're qualified or smart enough or have good grades or whatever the fuck, you can just take college classes your senior year of high school. So I was all about that. Like, give me that college credit and get me the fuck out of this high school building for part of the day. So this college, or community college, MCTC, Minneapolis Community and Technical College, they had a really good 2-year like film program. And I based my decision off of like the short film I made in high school. Like, that was so much fun to me that I was like, I want to pursue a career doing this, like video, photo, whatever. And so I sought out that program. It was a 2-year like associate's degree program. The first year they just gave you like a big overview of how films, TV shows, video media is made. And then the second year you had to choose your discipline. So you had the option to either choose producing and directing, which was like together, screenwriting, editing, or cinematography. And I chose cinematography because I was always like most interested in like cameras, lighting, all of that. And I knew like I could figure the story shit out, I could figure producing out, I could figure editing out, but like I'm not gonna have access to cameras and lights all the time. So I was like, I need to figure out how to manipulate, cameras and lights. And so that's what I did. And I, got the base education I needed. And then after that, I was just like picking up little jobs here and there in Minneapolis. What really like changed shit was my buddy who I went to elementary school with. He hit me up like super randomly. We had kept in touch, but he hit me up and was like, I'm doing this project in Brazil, and I heard you're like going to school to be like a cinematographer, and I need somebody to like film this shit. It's like, and I was just like, what? All right, tight. Let's fucking do it. I would like to go to Brazil for a whole summer. And so I'm not gonna get super into the project. It was about like a certain genre of music in Brazil in the northeastern part, and it's like folk music there, and how it was like changing and just being turned to shit, and how like westernized music was starting to infiltrate, and like just exploring the music in the region. It was really fun. And then I came back from that and was like, well, now that I've lived in another country for like 3 months, I don't want to live in my hometown anymore. I want to leave. I want to explore the world. Now that I have like these skills of, being able to film stuff, like I feel like I can learn and move anywhere. So it just so happened that the guy I was living with at the time in Minneapolis had, since he was a child, aspirations of becoming a professional wrestler. Shout out my guy Jordan, Thunder Frog. And so he wanted to move to Philly because Philly has like mad wrestling schools. Like Philly is a big wrestling city.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. For some reason, I thought it was you that wanted to wrestle.
No, I mean, I've always been into wrestling, but I never wanted to be a wrestler. I mean, it'd be fun, but wrestling's not fake. Those dudes' bodies, well, it's not just dudes. Dudes and girls' bodies get put through a lot of shit, and a lot of wrestlers die young because, they put their bodies out there for the fans. But, yeah, so he wanted to do that. That was a whole ass other adventure because, we don't got a lot of money, and wrestling school is pretty expensive, just like any other kind of trade school. And so he actually ended up winning this contest where they paid for his tuition because we drove out this long ass road trip so he could compete in Reading, Pennsylvania, in some fucking shit gym in Reading, Pennsylvania, where he had this competition where he like out wrestled and outworked a bunch of noobs, and yeah, won the scholarship. And so we moved out to Philly like 4 months later, neither of us having visited the city ever before in our lives.
Damn. So talk about Philly. Where did you move to at first?
So at first in Philly, we got this not the greatest of apartments, but it was cool. It was just in like a really rough part of Philly. It was in North Philly, like a few blocks north of Temple University. And, if you've never been to Philly, Philly is a very amazing, beautiful, eccentric, harsh, like, just in your face city. Like the people will say exactly what they feel to your face. And so coming from Minnesota, like super passive aggressive Midwest ass state, it was like a culture shock for me that, people were just so blunt. And I personally appreciated it because I would appreciate people just being like that in general. I don't play all that fucking say something to your face, mean something else behind your back bullshit. And so I really love Philly. I fucked with the vibe like right away. I shipped my bike out there, so I was biking everywhere because, me and Jordan were both super broke. We didn't have jobs when we first moved out there. We took a plane out there and both took a suitcase each, and then we split a suitcase. And that was all like the possessions we had in Philly. And we filled the apartment because it was like a college neighborhood. We just filled that shit with shit that kids would throw out, like when they either got kicked out of school or moved away. So we had like a bunch of just random college futon like assortment leftover but still usable furniture. So Philly was tight. I got a job in a restaurant, just trying to make it. But I was doing like little video projects here and there because I met some rappers at a Lil B show. Lil B changed my life. Thank you, Lil B. Shout out to Bass God. Love you forever, Lil B.
Is that why you say you owe him so much?
Oh yeah, I owe.
That's why you're a big fan?
Well, that's not why I'm a big fan. That's one of the reasons why I'm a big fan. There are too many reasons to name why I'm a big fan of Lil B to be covered just in this podcast. But I owe Lil B because I met these two rappers, Clout and Flash, at a Lil B show in Philly. When I was just like, I had nothing to do. I was just exploring around the city, and I'd like bike down to South Street. South Street's like the poppin' street in Philly, one of them. And there was a show going on. It was a Lil B show, and it was like the afternoon, and so I had a little time to kill. So I went across the street, and I forget the name of the bar, but this bar had dollar beers. Like, you know, there's only some rare spots in cities. I guess, you know, you get out in the country, you get dollar beers, but in cities it's kind of hard to find dollar beers. So I got pretty tuned up off of dollar beers, and I went to the Lil B show, and like I'm just there by myself, and I love Lil B, and so, you know, I'm cooking up, just cooking, doing the cooking dance. You know, go look up the cooking dance if you don't know what the cooking dance is. Learn the cooking dance. And so, like, you know, I'm tuned up, I'm dancing, I'm having fun. A little dance circle forms around me, and, you know, people jumping in, doing their cook. You know, I'm hopping in, doing my cook. You know, I'm wilding out. And these, like, I hop out of the circle, and these, like, dudes come up to me, and they're like, yo, what is your deal, bro? Like, you're wild. And, like, they had a blunt, so I hit the blunt, and we just started talking. And they're like, oh, like, we rap. And I was like, well, oh, I make videos. Like, let's make a music video. So maybe, like, a week later, we made a music video. And from there, like, all of their homies who rapped saw the quality of the video and were like, who the fuck is this kid, FunZach, who made your video? Like, where did he come from? And so from there, I just started working with all these, like, independent Philly rappers, making, like, videos for no money, but having a lot of fun. And just, like, my reputation kind of spread through the city. So I started just working with, like, bigger rappers here and there. And, you know, I still am in contact with a lot of those dudes. Like, those are, like, my homies for life, and I wish them all well.
Let me stop you real quick. What, being as you were so broke and fresh in the city, how did you have a camera, and what camera was it?
So before I left Minnesota, like, this is the camera I used on the Brazil documentary. I bought a Canon T2i and just used the shit out of that camera for years. Like, that was my little workhorse. Made a lot of stuff with it. You know, I still have it. I just don't use it anymore.
Yeah, I'm just always curious because, you know, being in this industry, and I guess also, I don't know how much of a fan of YouTube you are, but I feel like I'm constantly on there. And especially through the algorithm, I'll always get these videos from not just vloggers, but people that review tech stuff, particularly cameras and camera gear, lenses, all that shit. And I feel like that's like the number one, perhaps you could say, genre of video, is to try to make a comparison of like, what camera, like, we gave one person a Red and we gave another one a T2i, and let's see what they come up with. So I'm always curious to see like how people navigate having not the best gear and how they just make it work. And I mean, were people ever, what would be the opposite of intimidated? Like let down or whatever, or lackluster? Were people ever like lackluster when you show up on set with like a small little DSLR and just like one or two lenses and that's it?
Yeah. I think especially like rappers or people I'd never met before, you know, you have an idea in your head because of the video quality that you see of like what it takes to create that. And then when me and my backpack and my tripod show up, you're like, what? Like, this is it? I thought we were gonna get the trucks with the shit and like mad people with clipboards and headphones, and I'm like, nah, it's just me, bro. Like, sorry to disappoint you, but that's it. And so I didn't have to have those conversations that often because like I always approached it like, if you don't want to work with me, I don't fucking care. Like, fuck off. Like, I'm here to help your shit, your art. I'm help lift it up. You know, if you don't want to appreciate me and my art and me contributing to this, then fuck off. I don't need your, we don't need to work together. I only want to work with people that I vibe with.
Yeah.
And so.
And especially, I'm sure the rates were just.
They were nothing most of the time. Like I think I got paid like the most, maybe $500 to shoot and edit a full music video. That was the most I got paid for a whole music video, like in Philly. But I mean, there are other perks that came with it. Like I got to travel with people, but we'll get into that. But I wasn't ever. I don't know. I always wanted more shit, but I always was like, I don't want to carry more shit. I don't want to get a car. I only have my bike. So my kit was always like, how, I guess, stripped down can I make my kit while still being able to provide the quality visuals that everybody wants? So it's like, you got the camera, you got a couple lenses that you really fuck with, that you really know well. You got your drone now that's real small, so you fit that in your kit. You got maybe a couple lights if you really need some lights, and that's it. And a couple like little accessories to set your shit off. But for the most part, that's like all I was working with. And I got a couple people that are like, bro, like, come on, like, where's the rest of the stuff? But then we would work, and they would see what I made from just me and myself, and they would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the work speaks for itself.
Yeah. But I also understand the other side of it. Like, I got homies in the industry who recognize, especially in LA, they were like, oh, if I buy this nice-ass car and I show up to set in this nice-ass car, I'm going to be able to up my day rate just based on the car I pulled up in on set.
Because appearances.
Because appearances.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this dude deserves his 10K day rate, director rate, whatever, because he's out here riding around in a fucking Porsche. But you show up on a bike and they're like, oh, well, of course I'm going to give this fucking kid $200. Like,
yeah.
So I get it. It was just like my situation at the time. I couldn't flex like that.
Right.
And that's never really been like my personality. I've never been like, let me show off so that I can get more money. I know that's a game now, and I play that game when it comes to like corporate shit. But when I'm just making my own personal stuff now, I'm not fronting. I'm still the guy who rides around on his bike and pulls up with the backpack and makes the best shit you've ever seen. So
yeah. So yeah, you were living in Philly making videos. How long did you stay there?
I lived in Philly a little shy of 2 years. Felt like longer than that, but it was only a little shy of 2 years. I got an internship at Complex like summer of 2012, I think. So that summer I kind of lived in both cities. Like the internship was 2 days a week. So 2 days a week I was in New York, just working, staying on couches, floors, whatever. And then the rest of the week I was in Philly, like working at this restaurant and just trying to make money.
Hold on. If I remember correctly, did you get this internship because you saw like a Twitter post and you hollered at him?
Yeah, you know, I be on Twitter and I follow Complex, and like I was hungry and I saw them provide like an email address. They were like, "Oh, we're looking for summer interns. Here's an email address." And like I had just luck here and there, like hitting people up on Twitter in their DMs and getting a little bit of, you know, response. But I never get a response from Complex. And so I was like, oh, this email address, this is like my in. And so I hit up the email address and just, you know, talk myself up as like, I'm going to be the best intern you ever had. Like, I know all the stuff. I'm the best. Hire me and you won't be disappointed. And, you know, shout out to whoever at Complex received that email and passed it along to Jonathan Lees, who hired me as his intern.
Oh, it was Lees that hired you. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because he was like one of the first people that was there, right?
Yeah,
and the
Jonathan
marketing.
Lees was, if I'm not mistaken, the first person in Complex Video. Jonathan Lees is the godfather of Complex Video.
Respect to Jonathan Lees.
Big respect to that man,
Yeah.
holding it down at Tidal now.
Great dude. Yeah, how was that experience? I imagine that's probably a 2 hour ride each way.
Yep. Yep. For the most part, I took the Chinatown bus, because that was the cheapest option, and they let me put my bike underneath the bus. The Megabus was cool. It was more comfy, but they didn't let you take your bike, so it was the Chinatown bus. For the most part, it always was fine. It was a little, if you've taken the Chinatown bus, you know that bus is nasty, and people don't act right, but for the most part, because I was taking it like early morning, like I would leave Philly at like 5:30 a.m. so I could get into New York by, I think, 9 a.m. for my internship. And so, people aren't as rowdy like that early in the morning. But some of the rides back from New York, like they would pack that shit crazy. There was people standing in the aisle of the bus, like super violation of all regulations. And you'd hear people like in the line, like, oh yeah, like the driver fell asleep, crashed, because the reputation of the Chinatown bus was like they would just straight pluck drivers off the boat, give them the route, and they would just drive until they were like, I can't drive anymore, and then they would sleep, and then they would wake up and start driving again. So I was like, damn, that's what a life. But you just, anytime you get on a bus or airplane or a train, like you have to surrender a certain amount of your own safety to whoever's in charge of that shit. And like, if you want to stress about it, go ahead and make your trip whack. Like, I'm going to try not to stress about it until the turbulence starts and like the bus starts sliding off the road. Then I'll start tripping. But, that Chinatown bus trip back and forth from New York, like, yeah. Yeah.
Is it safe to say that it helped build character though? Like because to me it seems like since I met you, I was like, this is a hardworking dude, and he like you work for your shit.
Yeah.
You have a lot of charisma and a lot of passion and I don't know, a strong work ethic, and I imagine it's only that type of resilience that would make you not lose it doing that shit for how long were you an intern there for?
It was supposed to be just for the summer, but it extended like into October, maybe a little into November, I think. And then they were like, hey, we can't really just keep using you as free work anymore. We're going to stop your internship and we're going to like start trying to hire you to do like help out on freelance stuff. But before we get into all the New York stuff, I think it would be a disservice not to do one of my favorite humans from Philadelphia, Big Homie. It'd be a disservice not to talk about the man himself, Big Homie, and the experiences we went through, because that helped build a lot of my character as well. So Big Homie was like probably the rapper I worked with the most in Philly. And obviously you know him as well because we worked on a video together. But we met like the randomest way. I got hit up by one of the dudes I knew in Philly who fucked with my work, and he passed my name along to somebody who said they needed like an emergency video dude for a concert out in the Poconos, like an MMG concert. And so I was like, sure, sign me up, whatever, I'll do it. And I met random dude on a random corner in Philly with all my gear, and he picked me up. I think he was in a Benz or something. And
of course he was.
Yeah, of course. And, he picks me up, and we drive out to the Poconos. We got to know each other on the road. And we get there, and, we get to this hotel room, and there's a bunch of people in there. But there is this just giant man in the corner with a giant pile of weed on the little hotel table in front of him. He's just rolling blunt after blunt after blunt. I'm like, this is the motherfucking man right here. And that turned out to be Big Homie. And so, we didn't really talk much on that first trip. I was, just this little fresh kid in the middle of, this whole ass thing. Didn't know anybody I was around in the Poconos where I'd never been. And there's, a MMG concert going on in some, airplane hangar. So I got that access. I talked to Meek Mill and did a little interview and was right in the front of the stage. Got some really good footage of Rick Ross, Meek Mill. The show was great. And then that sparked the relationship with Big Homie, because at that time I think the dude who picked me up, him and his business partners were managing him, because Big Homie's trying to get his career off the ground as a rapper. So I started working with him. We started making music videos, and I don't know, we super vibed with each other. We had a lot of fun together. It wasn't just video director, rapper. It was we were actually friends, and still to this day are. And I think we made over 10 music videos. We traveled to Jamaica together to shoot a video, to LA. Seen a lot of shit, done a lot of shit. Some things I can't talk about on this podcast, but
I wish you would, but I get it.
Maybe that's another day. Subscribe to the OnlyFans podcast. Just kidding. But yeah, that's my guy. And I really honed a lot of my music video skills shooting the videos that I did with him, because he really trusted my vision and would let me really go for it as far as the ideas and the concepts went. And so I got to explore a lot of my creativity and, get my camera styles real tight. We got in trouble because we were shooting a drone on top of a building in downtown LA.
On the heliport.
Yeah, the helipad. We got this Airbnb out there, and I don't know why the girl showed us the helipad, but she showed us the helipad. And so once she was done with the tour, we were like, bro, we got to go shoot on the helipad. Brought the drone up there, had the speaker going, playing the song. We got literally the I don't even know, Brett Ratner fucking shot on top of the, large skyscraper in LA, sundown style. And then the people came up oh my God, what are you guys doing up here? And we're oh, just messing around. We didn't get kicked out or anything, but we pulled off a shot that would have in LA probably cost you tens of thousands of dollars for nothing.
Right.
So shout out to all this stuff we pulled off for no money, and we didn't get in trouble.
Yeah. That could definitely be a massive fine, I feel these days.
Oh, dude. I don't even want to think about how much that would have cost if we actually got in trouble for that.
Thousands.
You're banned from LA.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, shout out to Big Homie, a big part of my career, and still a great friend of mine. One of the biggest hustlers I've ever met. That man knows how to make money every which way. And really, maybe I always really loved his music. His rap career never took off the way, he wanted, we wanted, anyone wanted. But he made some bangers, and he lived the lifestyle of a rapper more than any other rapper I've actually met. Because I met a lot of rappers in my day through working at Complex and Genius, and the lifestyle that Big Homie leads, that's a lifestyle that if you want to be a rapper, you hope that you someday get to this status.
Yeah, he was comfortable. At least that one place that when we shot, I feel I shot 2 videos for him with you, or maybe it was just one. But either way, that high rise that he lived in, one of those.
Shot 2 different songs, but in the same trip. Because we shot the sexy one in his condo, and then we shot the car one.
That was 2 videos? I thought it was 2 different trips we took. Well, either way though, yeah, that place.
No, you're right. Yeah, there was 2 different ones. Because that was the cars were part of that video.
Oh, and the tuning garage. Yeah, I remember that. But I'm just thinking he lived in a nice condo building with a jacuzzi and a pool and all that shit, a gym, and drove an Escalade, had valet pulling the shit up, had a rich doctor friend who was sus, but whatever.
Oh yeah, Mike Vick, he lived in the same condo complex that Big Homie did, and I guess saw one of the videos I made and We like saw him in the parking lot. Like he was leaving, we were coming in. He was like, "Oh, I saw that video. I fuck with it." So, got the Mike Vick cosign.
That's sick. Yeah, shout out.
He did his time. Leave that man alone.
Are people still giving him shit?
Man, people love to give anybody shit in the public eye. Like anybody who fucks up. I'm not saying it's some blanket statement, but like if you've paid your debt to society of what society says you did, and you did the shit that like is, I don't know, I don't even know what I'm saying, but if you did the time for the crime, then you deserve to be like, have that shit looked past and to give forgiveness. I'm not saying Mike Vick is the best guy ever for fighting dogs, but doesn't have to be like ruin your whole life type shit. Like that's a whole nother political conversation, but like I hate when people, you get caught up for some crime and then you're labeled as a criminal the rest of your life. Like we all fuck up.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you got to be labeled as some shit for the rest of your life.
Yeah. So yeah, you were in Philly. You started interning at Complex, started picking up work with them. When was the decision made to move up here?
I think I made the decision to actually move to New York. I might have my years wrong, but like fall of 2012 or 13. And I didn't like actually move here. I just, for the next probably 4 or 5 months, stayed in random like homies' houses or apartments that had room. Like somebody's like, "Yeah, you can stay on my couch for a week." I was like, "Perfect, that's great." It was always like my goal to get to New York. So even if I had to sleep on like couches and floors, I was gonna do it just so I could be in this city full time, because New York's the best place in the world.
Big facts.
Facts.
What did they have you working on at Complex?
Oh man, being an intern at Complex, and this was in the days when you could still not pay interns any money. I was doing just like light editing, organizing of projects, transcribing. Like, I hate transcribing so much. 'Cause I'm like, I didn't know that it could be like roughly transcribed. Like you didn't have to nail every word and every like inflection. I was putting like UGH, AH. Okay, moving on. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Dude, thank God for what's that website? Rev, I think, right?
Yeah, Rev.
What a lifesaver.
You people are just saints. You deserve to be paid more.
Yeah.
Fuck Rev for, I don't know. I heard, I don't know the specifics, but I heard they like reduced the pay for the people. Now they get paid less for the transcriptions, and that's bullshit, because you're a amazing bunch of human beings helping save us a lot of time and headache.
Yeah, it's a fucking godsend.
Seriously.
Very tedious.
But yeah, I was doing, just light work, but gradually, like, as my skills improved, as they started trusting me more, I was able to, like, take on more, like, full edits and would go on shoots and be, more trusted with cameras and stuff. Although I do remember my first major shoot where I was, like, on set with Swiss Beats and, like, in a photo studio, like, first time I had seen the whole kind of New York, like, photo shoot, craft services, met people around who don't really know who they are or why they're there, what they're doing. And I mean, that's kind of who I was too. I was just like intern boy, but Jonathan Lees was like running camera, running point, doing the whole thing. And I was just supposed to run the Zoom recorder for the audio. But like, I had never run the Zoom recorder for the audio before, and I didn't know how it worked. And shout out Jonathan Lees, like, you're the man, but you did not tell me how the Zoom recorder worked or walk me through it or whatever. You just told me that if the numbers are running, then it's recording. Yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. And so like they started the interview and I hit record and the numbers are running. Little did I know that instead of hitting the one button so that the lav mic would be recorded, it was recording just the external speakers off the Zoom recorder itself. So I was like 6 feet away from them. So the audio was just trash, like absolute trash, like unusable. And like I got the super earful for that. Like, you know, but it was an honest mistake and I never made it again.
I mean, that's how you learn.
Yeah,
I've only learned like video editing stuff. It's either asking questions and annoying people with questions, bombarding them, or just really fucking up. And I've fucked up many times.
same.
Yeah, that's bad. I did that one time before on the mission statement for the first like 7 minutes. The dude did his whole intro and it was like mad funny, and yeah, that sucked. But whatever. I mean,
I've done that shit before.
It was the top viewed episode that we did though, so
yeah.
Fortunately enough, it didn't take away from it when it came to, I guess, the viewership of it and the quality.
Yeah, like you want everything to be perfect always, but yeah, sometimes you fuck up. And it's really like shows who you are, like how you bounce back from it or how you fix it and how you even own up to it. Because I know a lot of people been on set with some people who fuck up and then they just wait for you to like stumble upon their fuck up and they don't ever like own up to it. And you're like, who fucked this up? And nobody says anything. And then you're just pissed off.
Yeah.
And then like, dude, just come up to me and be like, oh man, I fucked up. I'm sorry. But this is what I'm doing to help fix it. Like, you know.
I'd way rather just instantly own up to it and be mad at my own self, all the while just keeping it inside and like figuring out a solution.
Yeah.
Than letting someone else like sweating bullets and then waiting for that one person to be like, all right, like who didn't pull focus?
Yeah.
So I get you.
So own up to your shit if you're one of those people.
What was that Swiss Beats video for?
I think it might have been like a cover video. Like he was like on the cover or something. It was like bad, dude. It was some major shit.
I thought you were gonna say it was maybe like a G-Shock.
I mean,
collab
maybe
or
it
something.
was something low key. I don't know why. Yeah, it couldn't have been a cover video. Like even back then, they were spending more money on the cover videos than sending me to do audio. Mm-hmm. So it must have been like some other one-off like piece, editorial thing. But it was a big fuck up. But yeah, it's like you gotta fuck up and get put in your place somewhere along your journey so that you can learn humility and you can learn how to fuck up and bounce back from it. Yeah. So that was one of those times.
Yikes.
Jonathan Lees was pissed.
But he still gave you a job.
Yeah, you know, he looked past that and was like, all right, I get it. You just didn't press the right button. This is still a major fuck up, but like, you're a good kid. We're not going to get rid of you yet. Mm-hmm. Fuck up again, we might, but, you know. I don't know. That was like, I'm not going to say times have changed like crazy. That wasn't that many years ago, but like, it was harsh. Like I came down on like real hard. I feel like everyone is so touchy these days. Like you can't just be like, yo, what the fuck did you do? Like you fucked up.
Yeah.
Like it's like, no, you can't say that shit to people anymore because it's like HR like violation. It's like, no, you gotta just like be real sensitive with people's feelings now. Yeah. And I get that to a certain point and I'm all for like being sensitive to people's feelings, but I also think people need to be called the fuck out sometimes.
Yeah. Like if you fuck up, you fuck up. And I mean, shit, I feel like I talked to Lonnie about it in front of you, or touched on it at least a little bit, but like I can't stand the coddled culture that we're in.
No, it's weak.
Yeah.
And like, it's turning people weak, like in just a lot of different ways. It's like, it's hard for people to even speak face to face nowadays because, like, I don't know. There's this fear of, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, yeah, coddled culture, cell phone culture, like social media. It's all bad. I mean, it's not all 100% bad, but it's not great.
Yeah, the bad parts are pretty shitty though, and I think, debilitating to the culture, as a whole. But whatever, fuck it. You spent a couple of years at Complex, yes?
I actually spent 5 years at Complex. I started as an intern and left as a senior video director. So shout out to me.
There goes that humility.
Hey.
Just right out the door.
Hey, you can't be in New York and just be a little humble dude.
No, I know, I feel you. I'm kidding.
You gotta talk that big talk. And I've had to learn that. And it's, I'm a Minnesota boy, so it's like not in my character of how I grew up to be like this. Like, got a bunch of Scandinavian influence, so it's like against their culture to be like boisterous and like, take pride and be loud about your accomplishments.
Yeah, it's like frowned upon.
And so, it's like sometimes I feel like when those two extremes of like Norwegian man who never says anything about his accomplishments versus the homie from Harlem who's just like, suck my dick, look at my watch, look at like all my shit, I'm the fucking tightest motherfucker you've ever seen in your life, like don't tell me shit. And it's like, I understand both ends of the spectrum and I appreciate, knowing both ends, but also like I prefer a certain type, like that's why I'm in New York. That's why I stay here, because I prefer that boisterous, like loud, colorful shit, like
very in your face. Yeah.
And I don't think you should just be like wilding like, yo, I'm the shit, I'm the best, nobody else can touch me like all the time. But I think if you do something you're proud of, you should feel free to like let the world know about it. And yeah, like,
well, how did you get over that? Because I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Complex was your first like real job, right?
Yeah, it was my first real job in like the video media industry.
Right,
for
right.
sure.
So how do you overcome that as an individual? Because obviously you worked on a lot of cool shit. Yeah. I was seeing it before I even got the internship there, which shouts out to you and Brett Dalzell. But yeah, like how do you overcome and like blast your shit out with while still keeping your integrity and like being true to yourself, I guess?
I don't even know really. Like it's like a daily progress. I don't think I'll ever completely shed my humble, like quiet Minnesota, shell or whatever you want to call it. I'll always be that dude, but I understand it takes like, if you want to grow your career, and especially now I'm back in the freelance game, like I have to promote my own brand, and I understand that it takes a certain amount of self proclamation and self like promotion to make it, like I don't think I'm not the best of the best, so my work can't completely just speak for itself. So I need to be out there like pumping this shit to people and telling people about it. And so it's like a daily thing for me, is like, all right, what am I proud of right now? What have I done that I really am feeling? And how can I like, what can I do to send that out? How can I like manifest something from this? Is it like sharing this personal like partner project that I'm doing with like publications and be like, do you fuck with this? Do you fuck with this? I'm super proud of it. This is this. But yeah, it's like a daily thing of me having to like remind myself that I'm good at what I do, and like the things that I've done, the things I've accomplished are worth telling people about and worth like spreading further into the world. Cause I don't know, I'm never gonna be like the dude on the corner telling people how tight I am. It'll take me convincing myself like, you should go out in the corner and tell people how tight you are, because that's gonna help, further some goal for you.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way I'm gonna promote my stuff and be like really behind my shit, is like, where is this gonna take me? What is this gonna bring me? Like, how is this gonna help me down the road? because to me the creation is my favorite part. Like I like making the stuff. I like being on set. I like talking with the people. And so putting it out in the world is great, and I'm always excited to hear people's responses to my art. But that's not the most satisfying thing to me, is like getting response from people. It's like, if you like my stuff, cool. I love that, and I'm happy that you received my art and it meant something to you. But that's not what brings me the satisfaction in my creation. My satisfaction comes from the actual creation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess that also contributes to why I'm not as like boisterous about my work and putting it out there, because if I was more passionate about like what people thought and getting their response to my work, then maybe I'd put more effort and time into that like part of things. So it's just like finding and figuring out where I need to put my energy, I guess.
Yeah. Are you of the nature, would you say, of the type of person that just feels like anything you do is incomplete? Not anything, excuse me, any like video projects that you work on? Because I feel like that's what I suffer from. Like anything I'll finish, I'm like, oh, but I could have changed this or that. And through the years, I've gotten way better about it, where like I'll just watch something down with fresh eyes like 2 days after finishing it. And if I do find those tweaks that I can make still, it's like, why the fuck not? Yeah. So there's less opportunity for me to call my own self out. You know what I mean?
I think I've learned really through like the jobs I've had, like working at Complex and working at Genius, where you just have a deadline. It's like, you want to make this video the best you can possibly make it, and you try to, and you put in that work, but then you have a deadline, and deadlines are important because it's like, stop working on this at this point, because I feel the same way. Like for a lot of personal projects I don't ever see the end. It's like I can tweak stuff until I drive myself crazy and it's not even the project that I first saw anymore. But it's like, you got to kind of have that conversation with yourself of like, when is my deadline, and when am I going to stop working on this? When is it going to be worth it to just end it? You know, it's like, I don't need to nitpick and like tweak all of this stuff in order for it to be like perfect, because I don't like believe in perfection. I don't think anything is ever going to be absolutely perfect. I think we like chase perfect as an ideal, and it's a great goal to have that'll never be reached, because why not try to make your shit the best it can possibly be? But it'll never be perfect, and so there has to be a point where you accept like, this is either the best it's going to be, or even if I tweak it anymore, it's like not really going to change much as far as what this art is. Mm-hmm. You know, you can keep adding paint, but that's not eventually going to make your painting good.
Right.
So it just, it's like a personal, at least for me, it's like a personal conversation of like, all right, man, this isn't really fun anymore. Like, let's just call it quits. Like, okay, well, yeah, like you said, take a day or two off. That really helps. Like, fresh eyes is very important. And then, make those final changes, or just leave it alone and, you know, close the book and put it on the shelf, or upload it to YouTube and move on to the next thing.
Yeah. So speaking of next things, you eventually left Complex.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that probably got tedious of working on the same type of shit all the time and this and that. Perhaps too much responsibility.
Yeah, Complex, when I left Complex, was in a state of turmoil, I guess. There was a lot of changes going on. It was like a little bit after the Verizon and Hearst like purchase of Complex. So the fun environment that initially was Complex, like at the offices and everything, started turning like way more corporate, way more stuffy, way more like, you know.
Oh, because you were there since like 23rd Street, right?
Yeah, I worked there when the spot was still on 23rd, in between 5th and 6th, above the Home Depot, with Mark Echo's mega office with the basketball court. Shout out to that spot.
Damn.
And we had like happy hours every Friday where like booze reps would come in, just feed us alcohol. Those were the days.
Oh, I definitely remember that.
Those were the days. But yeah. Towards the end of my time there, it wasn't like fun to work there anymore, especially in my department, which was handling like branded content. We were putting out super quality video work that was making the company hella money, but we weren't getting the respect that we deserved. Like my old boss, Ryan Wick, shout out to Ryan Wick, one of the best guys I know, big time mentor to me. He left because he got sick of it. Ryan Wick was the second person to work in Complex Video. And when he left, it was just like this like little bit of a power vacuum of like, who's going to be our boss now? And we got tossed around. Like we got moved from like this department to this department. And the whole time it's like me and my other homie Julian and the other homie Robbie, like we're all trying to hold it down. But then they got sick of it. They both left, like, you know, I don't know, like 4 or 6 months apart. And so then it's just me, my homie Spencer, and like a couple other people in our department. And we still don't have a boss. I'm like trying to hold it down as the boss, but I'm still like, my title is still like associate video producer or some shit. And so they like, instead of listening to me and just being like, oh, okay, Zach, we're going to like give you the responsibility, like hold the team down. You're now the actual leader and title. It was just like, I'm just trying to handle shit and make sure we get the videos that we're tasked to do out on time and the client likes them. And we held our shit down. But like I said, we weren't getting the respect we deserve. They brought in like a few outside people to manage the department. They lasted each like 2 to 6 months.
Dude, I remember that.
Like, and the whole time, each of those people, I had to train them on how to be my boss. So like, what the fuck? I'm not trying to do this anymore. Like, if after 2 people you bring in who clearly like didn't do the job well, I had to train them on how to do the job. They still didn't do the job well. And then the next time you're like still thinking about hiring somebody from the outside, after each time I'm like, yo, hire me, move me up, give me the title, give me the salary, I'll do the job. I already am doing the job, so why wouldn't you just give me the job? So I got frustrated and I quit. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Here's my 2 weeks. And this was after this was the week after I did the most like costly campaign, or like the campaign I've with the most budget that I've ever done. It was a Champs, Under Armour. Yeah, I think it was Champs. I don't know. Probably. Yeah, Champs Sports, Under Armour, collab, whatever, featuring Brandon Marshall, T.I. and Quavo for like, made like a music video out of this, like a whole little 30-second commercial spot. We like built an entire walk-in closet in like a warehouse in LA in like less than a week. It was a crazy project and we pulled it off and like, made the company a bunch of money, made everybody look super good, stressed me the fuck out, but did it. And the week I got back, like the dude who had been my boss, he quit that week. And I was already planning on quitting when we got back. I was just like, I got to handle this big ass shoot because I was a director. And then I'm going to quit because I'm sick of this. But then he quit. And I'm like, well, now I can't. I'm going to just quit. And he's quit. Like, you took my quit. That's my quit. And so I think I like stayed another week or so. But then I was like, all right, well, it's clear that you guys aren't going to, put me in the position of like the manager of this department. So I quit. Like, I'm out. And I think the first week, nobody really paid attention to the fact that I was quitting or the consequences of what would happen, with nobody leading this department. But then, I don't know, somebody got word and like the director of video, I'm not even gonna say his name, fuck that dude. he had like a talk with me. He was like, "Oh, Zach, what'll it take to keep you? You're really valuable." Blah blah blah. And like he was the one I had a big ass problem with because he like used mad company resources to like make a bunch of bullshit for his girlfriend. Like his girlfriend was singing like cover songs, and each like there was like fucking 19 of these videos, and each of these videos probably cost like 4 to 6K. And she's just singing cover songs like with a backup band.
Wait, this was like personal work, and he had you guys editing it?
No, like, so Complex has like a review Vimeo, you know, of all the shit that Complex creates in video. And like, obviously I have access to that because I'm putting mad shit up there. And, you know, I can't help it. Sometimes I'm scrolling and I see some shit I don't recognize and I'm curious. So I clicked on this shit and I clicked on that one and then that one because there were multiple that, you know, it's like, oh, you see one, then it's like the next on the list, the next on the list. There was like 20 of these videos. I'm like, what is going on here? I've never seen a talk about this video series. Like, I'm in a lot of these big meetings of what we're doing. I haven't heard any talk about this. Nobody's mentioned this. Who is this girl? She's singing these songs. I know about licensing. We're not going to be able to license any of this shit. And I talked to a couple people and I found out it's like the dude who was the head of like all things video at Complex, that was his girlfriend. And he's just straight up using company resources to like make his girlfriend's dreams come true, which, you know, great boyfriend. Shout out to you, bro. But like, not a great boss. Yeah. So I knew about this shit he was doing. Like, and it was funny because I'm not gonna say I was like untouchable, but like I would sit there, my monitor was like facing the whole ass like wing of that building, and I would play those videos and like people would come up and I'd be like, yo, have you seen this? Like I would flag people down like, yo, come here. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? Because this is what is this? What is going on here? And finally, like, I don't know, like one of his lesser managers, like underlings, like saw that I saw it, like walked by and saw it and was like, oh shit. And then like I kind of got a talking to about it. But I was like, all right, well, fuck this. This is bullshit. Like, this is obviously some weird, you know, like I don't want to work at a place where some shit like this can go down. So I was like, that was one of the factors that contributed to me wanting to quit. There were a lot of other things going wrong at Complex at that time, but I was also just hella frustrated because they weren't, you know, recognizing that I was handling shit. I was the boss of that department, but not in title or salary compensation. So I quit. And then, yeah, dude like came up to me, you know, we had a meeting a week later. He's like, what's it going to take for you to stay? I was like, I want a month off and $20,000. And they were like, oh, all right, we'll get back to you on that. And they got back to me and were like, we can give you $10K now and like a week off. And I was like, nope, I quit. Like I told you what I wanted. I'm not bending. Like there's no compromise in this situation. I want that amount of money and that amount of time off because I'm burnt the fuck out. And they didn't accept it. So I quit, you know, on like a Friday, put my 2 weeks in. 2 weeks go by. Weekend goes by. Monday, I'm free. I don't have a job anymore. Monday, Complex hires me to do freelance work. Hey. I don't want to talk too much shit about Complex. I had a lot of fun there. It was a great company to work for. It was just run not very well for a few years.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it definitely started to get very corpo and not what I had envisioned it would be when I started interning there. Yeah,
it was cool. It was a fun job. A lot of great people worked there. A lot of great people still work there. It was just, yeah, it was a wild adventure.
You got to travel at least a decent amount.
Yeah, that was a good 2.5 years there of just like being on the road almost every month. That was really fun. Like I was single and didn't have any responsibilities. Like traveling was great. Lots of stories there, maybe for another time.
What's your favorite strip club in all of America?
Oh, man.
Because I know...
That's tough.
I feel like you told me some stories of like...
Well,
The Atlanta ones.
Yeah, Atlanta has the best strip clubs, at least in my experience in America. At least the most fun. My type of vibe. The worst strip club I went to was in Detroit. That place was gross. I don't even remember the name, but I don't even want to say the name because nobody should go there. I don't know. I'd say the best strip club in my experience throughout my travels was Follies in Atlanta. That place is super fun. One of the strippers there, she took me on like a tour of the strip club. This was the first time I went. I was with Fadia and Mario. Shout out to them. I'm not using last names. They know who they are. Shouts out to y'all. Thanks for taking me. Y'all are killing it. But we went to Follies. We smoked like a blunt right before we went in. So I was super gone. I got like a whiskey and I like set it in the wrong place and like the stripper knocked it in my lap. And so it just literally looked like I wet my pants. Like I was super stoned and like in a new ass environment. I'd never been in a strip club in Atlanta before. And like if you've never been in a strip club in Atlanta, like that is an experience. And so I was like, damn, if I get a lap dance, they're gonna think I peed on myself, right? I came all quick. So I wasn't trying to be that dude. But I was like, fuck, I can't just like sit here, all lame. So I was like, all right, like what am I? It's like, girls in strip clubs, they'll just come sit on your lap. Like that's just sometimes what happens. And so like a couple of them would, and they'd be like, why are you all wet? I was like, it's just my thing, girl. I like to pee. And like they knew I was kind of fucking with them, but also, who knows if I'm fucking with them. So it was a fun night. But yeah, like one of those strippers who sat in my lap and I like told her that, she thought it was super funny and like knew I was fucking around. She's like, oh, let me like show you around the strip club. She's like,
she give you a tour?
Yeah, she gave me like a whole tour of Follies. I was like, this is amazing. So she showed me like there's a champagne room. She's like, some girls be sucking dick in there. I don't do that shit though. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. But it was like,
wait, hold on. Champagne room, does that have anything to do with Chris Rock's "No Sex in the Champagne Room" song?
Well, the champagne room that's like the song is from the term from the strip club. Like, from my understanding, the champagne room is like the private room where you get like the private lap dance. Like some strip clubs have like a big open area where there's like a couch or like a bench, and then there's just mad strippers and mad dudes getting, the dirtier lap dances that you wouldn't get on the floor.
The bonuses.
Right. Or there's like the individual like stall type of zones, various strip clubs, various different types of champagne rooms. But this one was like a more open type of vibe. Like she like pulled the curtain back and there's just mad bodies writhing around in low light. I'm like, all right, cool, interesting. Then it shows me around the rest of the spot. I'm like, this is amazing. Thank you so much. I wish I remembered her name. But I mean, it's not a real name, it's just a stripper name anyways. Yeah, Follies, shout out to Follies. Great spot. If you're in Atlanta, check it out. I don't know if you can right now, though.
No, but I know that some strip clubs are doing or some strippers are doing private dances and private events. Like this dude I just worked with over the weekend, he's like, yeah, my friend's a stripper, and she has all these doctors. Like, because we were talking about Corona, and he was like, yeah, my stripper friend told me everything that she heard from her clients, essentially. She'll be dancing on them, and they'll be like, whatever, like spitting off facts and whatever, like, don't worry about it. Like, yeah, you're not going to get it here, blah, blah, blah. Like, I got tested already. You're good.
No thanks.
Telling them the dirty secrets of, like the real truths behind Corona and, like, who's getting it and, all that.
Wow.
The real news.
Real news.
Yeah.
Not that old fake shit.
Well, anywho, I speaking of strip clubs, you and I went to one in the middle of nowhere, Iowa.
Yeah.
On probably I imagine it's one of your first freelance things for Complex, no?
Yeah, that was like that project was the biggest freelance thing. I had done like one-off projects like editing or shooting things for them. But this was actually like a full-on produce a whole production type of deal. So it was like it wasn't Complex actually. It was like Green Label, which was the Mountain Dew like I don't
Cool brand or like
Cool.
the culture brand, yeah.
yeah, it's like I don't even know how these deals work, but it's Mountain Dew wants to market their stuff and be cool, but they don't want it to be labeled as Mountain Dew. So they create this like subgenre called Green Label, and then Green Label does a deal with Complex, and Complex generates a bunch of content for Green Label's YouTube website and like blog. And so that's like what this project was for. It was for Green Label, and it was to make a camouflage documentary because there was like a big camo exhibit coming up at Complex Con that year.
Yeah, that was the first Complex Con, I think, too.
Yeah. So we, this was, I don't know, like a few months after I had quit Complex, and, I was doing a bunch of freelance work for them. Like all the people who worked there still knew me, trusted my shit. And so they hit me up to, see if I could do this project, like handle the whole thing, like shoot it, edit it, find all the people, produce it, travel, do the whole everything. And I was super down. It sounded really fun. Like I love camouflage and was super excited to learn more about it and like talk to people who were experts. And so they, hit me with the budget at first, and I don't know, it was like not enough money, not at all. So I was like, went back, and this shout out to all my friends who, dealt with me, because it's like, I know the inner workings of things, and I know there's always money available. Like, as long as you ask, or you're just like, don't accept like the first offer. You're like, actually, I need a little more. And so that's what I did with this, because I knew it was like, all right, I know there's more money here. So they hit me with this number, and I was like, no, give me 10K more than that. And they were like, all right, here you go. So that was great. Super cool. First big major project I was undertaking as like an independent entity. FunZach Films. Shout out FunZach Films. Go to funzachfilms.com. Check out all my stuff. So yeah, I was like, now I got to figure out how to do all this. And I knew you were capable boy when it came to the cameras, the edits, the lights,
Respect.
all the stuff. And I was like, also not just, capable with the skills, but we're going to be traveling together. So we got to like actually be chill and have a fun time together. And I was like, yeah, Bob should come. Bob should be the guy. So I think you were officially like the director of photography for that project.
That was definitely my first ever like DP credit.
Yeah. So official. And
you officiated me.
Hey man, just making shit happen however we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we made that shit happen. Like that was one of the most fun projects like I've ever been a part of, because we went to Atlanta, we went to Vancouver, we went to
Iowa.
Massachusetts.
Iowa. Or did we go to Mass or Connecticut? Whatever. Yeah.
Somewhere we drove there to the camo factory. Yeah, we talked to like a bunch of super interesting people.
Guy Kramer. Fucking invisibility cloak.
Hey, shout out Hyper Stealth. You're gonna see Hyper Stealth being implemented into a lot of stuff in the next decade. I guarantee it.
I wanna wrap my car in Hyper Stealth.
Yeah, guys. I should be hitting you up more on email, checking in with you, but you're a genius, and I've always been interested in all the crazy stuff that you're making. I know you're probably not gonna hear this shit, but who cares? Go look up Guy Kramer, Hyper Stealth. That man made straight invisibility cloaks. Like, it's not fully Harry Potter, but closest we'll come to in this reality so far. So shout out to that man. up there in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, making the world a more camouflaged place.
More translucent.
Yeah. But that shit was fun. I really enjoyed talking with him. Guy is like, he's just such an interesting person because like his brain works on a level that's different from regular people. And when you like have somebody has like such a independent entrepreneurial inventor mind, it's just like you just kind of taken aback because you're like, you hold all these secrets in your brain of like innovation that's going to change this world, and it's just wild to even talk to you about like this place you're at, because at the time that was what, like 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Like he wouldn't even show us the stuff. Like we were there, he had it like locked in a back room or something.
Yeah,
but he wouldn't actually show it to us because like he was like super concerned about security and like his like trade secrets getting revealed, which he should have been. I mean, now that he has put the stuff out, like it all has to do with like lenticular lenses and like bending the light, and so it's not this like crazy material that he like stumbled upon and invented. It's a technology that already exists. He just figured out a way to manipulate it
to put it like into a fabric or a cloth. Yeah,
to like hide. I mean, I don't even know if. Yeah, I think he has gotten it thin enough that it's like could be a fabric. But all the videos I watched, he's got like a extensive amount of videos on Vimeo that really break down the technology and how this fabric, or I'm not even gonna call it fabric, it's like material, how this material hyper stealth actually works and what it does. And it's crazy. Like it's just, you straight up makes stuff disappear.
Well, yo, I love how he was saying that when he invented it, he did it by accident, and he actually like dropped it and then he couldn't find it because it literally just was showing exactly what was underneath this cloth, this fabric, this material.
And now, like, thinking back to what he told us and, like, not knowing what it was then, but now, like, have you watched the videos of, like, the actual stuff now?
On his Vimeo, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like, I'm, like, putting all the pieces together, like, oh, like, he must have just been fucking around with these, like, lenticular lenses or this material. And, yeah, like, maybe dropped something and, like, at a certain angle, he, like, looked at it and the light bent around it so he couldn't see it. And then he, you know, had that, like, epiphany moment of like, oh my God. And so, yeah, check it out. Super interesting. It's definitely going to be implemented, I don't know, maybe into military stuff, but like, we'll see. I think it's going to be like hunting and shit like that.
It's definitely going in the military because that's the reason that he wouldn't show it to us, is because he was in negotiations with like the U.S. Army or the military, or also like.
Oh, remember the dude in Atlanta who low-key like threatened our lives? The colonel.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at this shit. Like they're putting it onto
like riot shields.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like Guy Kramer, he developed like, I don't know, some mathematical algorithm to create patterns of camouflage that, when put up to like actual camouflage testing, are the best of the best. Like his shit hides shit better than any other camouflage pattern.
Yeah.
And like I forget which, I think it's maybe the Mexican military, Jordan's military. A couple other countries use his camouflage pattern on their uniforms.
Well, the crazy part too is that the cool part about him is the fact that he's like such a nerd about it. And he does, for example, multicam versus digicam, and why that makes a difference, and how it breaks up the perception of what the human eye sees when light hits it. Not even the hyper stealth, but like, just the regular digicamo.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, so that documentary, I mean, I still look back and watch that documentary every now and again. And I'm like, this is fucking good as fuck. Like, this could be on like public television and educate kids on like what camouflage is. And so that project was super fun. Go check it out.
Yeah, the fine print.
The fine print.
The history of camouflage.
The fine print. A history of camouflage.
You banged out 3 episodes and they came out fucking phenomenal. Also, shout out to Nate Boyd and Brett Dalzell for the graphics work.
Digital graphics boys.
No, what I was gonna mention though, what got me onto the topic was the stripper and the strip club in Iowa. The story I tell people is you and I went to the strip club at like 5 p.m. because we literally had nothing to do.
Yeah.
And then we were there. There was no strippers. There was one chick in like a little see-through top working behind the bar. And then one super suspect dude. Like he looked like the younger brother from, what is that movie called? Napoleon Dynamite. And he looked that's like all I remember is this chick looking at us two walking in, and then Napoleon Dynamite's little brother sitting at the very end of the bar just like quietly enjoying his beer, all sus. And then playing a couple of games of pool. Dude, that was like the first time where I saw a good beer at a strip club, and it was buy one get one. And I remember paying $3.75. I'm like, I could be a fucking rich man here.
Yeah.
Incredible. But then I remember I go outside because I thought we were leaving. I go outside, smoke a cigarette, and you're like, yeah, I'll be right out. I'm gonna ask the bartender if she could get us like some weed. I finish my cigarette, and it's an American Spirit. I'm like, God damn, where is this dude? And I go back inside, and you're just sitting there next to the stage with a set of titties in your face, holding the glasses in your hand. And I look at you, I look at the bartender, I was like, yo, could you break this 20 for me real quick? And then I remember you get up, you got the smirk on your face, you were like, yo, I'm gonna go talk to her real quick and get the weed. And I sit down, and this chick is like, starts her whole dance routine. And I just remember, she's like, glasses off. I was like, what? Glasses off. I'm like, all right, whatever, take my glasses off. She's like, hands on the ass. I'm like, am I even allowed to? Hands on ass, just fucking grabs my hands, sticks them onto her butt cheeks. And then she's like, are you ready? I'm like, for what? And she just takes my face and go, boom, right into her titties. And just fucking rubbing her titties. I'm like, this is kind of sick, but also, what the fuck? It took 3 showers to get the smell of baby lotion off of me.
Oh, yeah, that was gross.
Very fun trip, though.
It's like you're in middle of nowhere. It wasn't middle of nowhere. It's just Iowa. So it's even the cities in Iowa are not that big. Like, yeah, whatever, Des Moines. But what was it, like Cedar Falls? Something Falls?
So you see, I think it was Cedar Falls, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a little college town.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're just bored, didn't have anything to do. It's like, let's go to the strip club. Why not?
And the crazy part too is that by the time we left, it was only like 6:30. It was almost
like the
like
sun
when people,
was like just going down.
Yeah, it's like how people describe when they like have a first like long trip and only 3 minutes has gone by, but they think it's been like hours.
Yeah,
I swear it felt like that, and we were still bored. I remember getting.
And we never got the weed. She never hooked it up.
No.
But whatever. That was fun.
Yeah, good time.
That town was, all the alcohol was super cheap. But
well, that's what I was gonna get to. After the strip club, I remember being like, "What do we do for dinner?" And I think the one thing that the stripper helped us with, she was like, "Well, there's another strip club like 40 miles away, or the town you're staying in. There's this bar. It's a dive bar, and they're doing 25-cent wings tonight and like dollar beers." Oh, yeah. And I just remember feasting on dinner, and we each paid like $9.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Middle America for that.
Yeah, like, as weird as that trip to Iowa was, like, I'll always remember it because of all that weird shit. Like,
absolutely. And honestly,
little
too, like,
hotel we stayed in.
Yeah, that was a cute hotel though. Yeah, nice little boutique hotel.
Oh yeah, shout out to Heather for producing that whole thing. She hooked it up with the hotels.
Heather B.
Yeah,
I remember her.
She killed it. She produced the fuck out of that. Helped us out. Even when our plane didn't connect and we had to drive the rest of the way to Atlanta.
Oh yeah, that was wild. I mean, shit, it brings me back to what I was saying earlier, like your work ethic. you and I combined, especially, I was like, fuck it, I'll drive. And you were like, cool, I'll start editing. Because I think we had just been in Iowa, came back to New York for a couple days, and then like that Sunday, we flew to Atlanta.
Yeah, I had to edit the first episode of that while we were still shooting it. So, shout out to me.
Got it done. Came out great.
Came out great. Didn't get the views that anyone wanted, but whatever. That's not on me. Promote your shit better, Green Label.
Exactly.
And bring back Hidden, the photography series.
Oh, yeah, that was good. But you know what it is, though, too, is a lot of those photographers, they've already kind of blown up on their own.
Yeah.
So I feel like even if Green Label was to approach them now, they'd probably be like, well, I want way more money, so...
No, that's why you gotta keep it going, because, like, the photographers we did, now they're killing it, but it's like, find the next people on to come up, you know?
That is
like,
true, yeah.
we did, like, Greg Noir, and when he was still on his come up, and now, like, Greg Noir is, like, one of the most well-known, like, concert photographers in the game, so it's like, why would you stop doing a series like that when, you know, it's like, that's the shit that people want to see, is people on their come up. But
I think that's also so core to that brand in particular, to Green Label, and I mean even to Complex, because I feel like Complex was we were almost like the production house for Green Label content, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or like the sole marketing contract per se.
Yeah, I think there was other people creating like video content for them, like freelance people, but yeah, Complex was like, doing all the stuff, making most of the content.
Yeah, they had me on Do Tour one time.
Yeah, Do Tour was fun.
Yeah, that was chill. Did you work that in Brooklyn?
No, I didn't go to Brooklyn. Me and Julian went to Do Tour in Ocean City, Maryland.
Oh.
That was radical. Dude, I forget the name of the spot. I'm sure everybody in the Ocean City, Maryland area knows, but there's this like bar there that is like the most giant party mansion bar club situation like you've ever seen. There's like different floors, different areas. There's like the beach club bar, but then they have like a fancy ass restaurant, and then there's like the tiki spot, and it's just like so many little areas to walk through, and like just drunk college kids everywhere. It was crazy. I'd never seen any shit like that. But Ocean City was fun. I think, who were we shooting? Oh, dude, we're shooting with Keelan Dad. So
yikes.
Yeah. I'm not really going to speak anymore on that. That trip was fun. Yeah.
And then it ended for him.
Yeah. But Do Tour was fun. All the stuff for Green Label was pretty awesome. It was just not promoted well.
Yeah.
Because the content was great. I don't know why people didn't watch it more.
I'm not sure either. And I remember when the fine print came out, checking the YouTube and the Facebook views, the last episode had like
the Facebook views were crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
I mean, I guess it's just like
YouTube
Facebook ad
like
dollars.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So
it's a damn shame.
Whatever. Maybe we'll repurpose it, put it on PBS or something.
That could be cool. Well, I guess if you have the master file of it, the master project.
Yeah, it's on one of my hard drives.
Well, that's good.
I try to keep like pretty good catalog of old projects, but who knows if those hard drives still will like boot up.
Yeah, true. Got to get on that.
Yeah, they got like those new Samsung like fast hard drives that aren't they don't have like spinning parts. It's all like solid state.
SSDs, yeah.
You gotta start getting some of those, because I think those are like way more durable and last a lot longer since they don't have like moving parts.
They're good for mobile workflow. That's what I'm working off right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get me some of
That's
those.
behind the laptop here. Let's transition. We were talking about Complex and everything having to do with it.
Yeah.
How did you get the job at Genius? Because I feel like that's a pretty natural transition. You went from working in music to working for essentially a 100% music-based website that was like ramping up their video.
Yeah. Genius, that job fell in my lap, really. I was doing freelance and doing pretty well. Like, had gigs that were, either like weekly or monthly. So, at least guaranteed money coming in on a regular basis. But then the good homie who I worked with at Complex, Justin, he was at Genius and just, I guess, like a position opened up. Or no. He was moving from New York to LA because his girlfriend at the time, fiance at the time, no. I think they were married at that point. His wife at the time, not at the time, his wife.
Still married.
His wife got a job in LA and like a really good job. And so her company paid for them to move to LA. So Justin moved to LA and his job in New York opened up because he went to LA and like established Genius's video department in Los Angeles. That's still pretty much just Justin and like three other people, but they do a lot of amazing work out there. But yeah, so he moved to LA and they needed to fill his position in New York. And so he recommended me for the job because I'm tight. And, he told me about it and I hit them up. And it was a great position to be in because I wasn't really like, I don't need this fucking job. Like, I'm doing good. Like, do you guys want me? Because I'm tight. If you guys want me, then maybe I'll work for you. It wasn't like, I need this job. I really hope I get this job. So I like went into the interview just like super casual. Like, I mean, sure, like talk the job up to me because I'm not going to like talk myself up to you. Like, I'm tight. I got the skills and the resume and the reel to back it up. And so I went in, I was like, this is great. Like, this is fun. It seems like a cool place. I love that it's just completely music focused. And the interview was cool. Like, the people I talked to who worked there are super cool. And I got like a take home test, which I was like, oh, this is kind of dope. Like, more in depth than just like the interview. It's like, all right, actually show us what your ideas can be. So it's like, pitch us an idea for like a weekly episodic series. Here's like 2 or 3 of our videos to watch. Like, watch these and critique them. Like, what would you do differently? Would you change? What mistakes do you see? So that was like pretty fun to fill out. I mean, I guess I did a good job because I got hired. And yeah, so I don't know, I was doing freelance for a little over a year after quitting Complex, and then got hired at Genius in like November of 2017, 18, I think 18. Yeah, I think, no, 17. So I worked there for a little over 2.5 years. Yeah.
What'd you do there?
I was a director and editor, mainly handling their like original series content. So my focus was the Deconstructed series, which talked to producers who made the beat behind like top songs and literally like break down the beat sound by sound. So that was super fun. I met a lot of really interesting people. Like, it was a great job. Like, I got to take photos of so many different like musicians, artists, celebrities.
Yeah, the photos were great. I feel like you definitely got into a good habit where you're like, I know I'm definitely stealing this person for like 5 quick minutes just to snap a few portraits.
Yeah, for sure. Because after whoever came in would do their like verified episode or whatever series they were doing, most of the time like we'd have to take photos for the thumbnail or for whatever. But yeah, I would always like, if it was somebody I really liked, I would like set up a little extra lighting situation or like take them in the hallway where the sunshine was really nice and just like take some extra portraits. Yeah, like my portfolio of photos is crazy now after that job because it was me and 2 other people who took the photos there. Shout out to Tim and Sam, both excellent photographers. And yeah, we like all three of us. We just like had a Slack channel, and it'd just be like call out whoever you see somebody coming up on the calendar who you want to take photos of. Just call it out. And that's how it worked. It's a great system.
That's so clutch.
Yeah, Genius was tight. Unfortunately, you know, the virus. Because, yeah, like companies are struggling, man. Ain't nobody making money like they were before except Bezos. Fuck you, Jeff.
I'm so surprised though that they held on to you for like months on end. And then it wasn't until just recent that they let you go.
Yeah, I think there's things that happen that I don't think I can speak publicly about internally that contributed to them having to make the decision to lay people off, which is unfortunate, but that's just how business is. Like, you know, I don't take it personally. I don't have any beef with Genius or anyone at Genius. I understand the decision. I just hope they make it. Like, I hope they make it through this shit. I don't want to see any company fail, especially a company like Genius full of a bunch of cool people doing cool shit. So, you know, let's hope all these mega media tech giants don't consolidate everything and ruin all the stuff for the rest of us.
Yeah.
But, you know, seems like that's kind of the direction things are going. Wealth consolidation at the top, all of us down here trying to scrape for the scraps.
Trying to start YouTube channels.
YouTube channels, OnlyFans channels. Get that bread however you can, man.
What was your favorite project that you worked on, or like favorite artist you work with at Genius?
Oh man, that's tough. I'd say probably the Juice World project. Like, we did a video with Juice World for our IRL series, which is like the big interview, like in-depth, really well thought out interview series. Shout out to Rob Markman. In my mind, the best interviewer in the game. Amazing rapper as well. But this was like a show where Rob would sit down with like a notable musician or rapper, whatever. Rappers are musicians. And just have like a really in-depth conversation, like the best interview you've ever had in your professional career type shit. And so we did this video with Juice World. It was sponsored by McDonald's. And so part of it was this like community action. And so it was like partnering with an organization in Chicago. It was called 100 Black Men that provide, you know, services for the youth in Chicago. And this was also a program that Juice WRLD himself was a part of. And so it was like, depending on the amount of lyric annotations that the community on Genius does for Juice WRLD lyrics, McDonald's would donate a certain amount of money to that organization. And like, it ended up being a bunch of money, like probably over like $50,000. So it was a great program all around. But the video, yeah, was focused on Juice WRLD. RIP to that man. This was like one of the, honestly, like the last videos he was even in before his untimely death. But it was just like amazing to work with him because like he was a super young kid, just very excited, but like he was at the point in his career where like he was certified stamped like successful, like you're the shit. And he was still super humble, super cool, like on set, wasn't annoying, wasn't demanding, like just everything you want in an artist that you're working with. Even though he was like a little late, but you know, it's not all his fault. So yeah, that was my favorite because it was an amazing video to work on. I got to work with like my homies in Chicago who I had worked on like a whole ass feature film with independently in Minnesota, like back before any of all this. So it was like my homie Jack works out there for a production company. he hooked up the cameras and the whole crew. And so everything worked great because I had my friends producing it, people I trusted, and I had my people at Genius, my team with me who I all trusted, and we just like made it happen. You know, the client tried to throw some wrenches in there, as clients always do, but we pulled it off. You know, you never want your client messing with your lighting 2 seconds before the interview starts. Like literally they're sitting there about to start talking and they're like, this looks too dark. I don't like this. You're like, all right. And you just like not yell, but you're like, hey man, will you just take that flag off that light a little more and just like open it up a little bit? And that's what we did. And it was just like, all right, please somebody take her outside or like put her in the other room. Like she can't be here anymore. I'm gonna snap.
You know how we were talking yesterday on the phone about at one point having our own production companies or being the producers, the like not directors necessarily on set, but directors of like the whole production.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like what we do now and how we complain about clients and client feedback and just like how they love to throw a wrench into the gears. I feel like that's so analogous with how people talk about like when they become teachers, they want to be everything their teachers weren't for them. Because it's so true. It's like the more that I work with people, I'm like, thank you for giving me another life lesson, and like I'll be that much more better off going forward on like future edits because I'll, you know, that naturally you shoot, direct, edit, produce, so you know what at this point in the game, you know what clients are gonna want, and it just makes your life that much easier when you are doing post.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't really going anywhere with that. Just I guess making a point. Just something that popped into my head.
Well, yeah, going forward, I don't want to just pick up the like little freelance 2-day edit here and there. I want to do the big projects. I want to do the camouflage documentaries. I want to do the Kalina Strada shoots, you know, like where somebody trusts us to fully handle shit because we can, you know? And like it is about building up your reputation and getting your name out there and self-promotion. But yeah, it's like that's the goal, is to have a brand or whoever completely trust you and like let you just go with your vision. And it seems like we're more and more like getting there, you know. It's just also picking like the right projects and working with the right people, which I'm very thankful for, that I don't have to just say yes to everything. I know that's something you're very thankful for now. Like we're still grinding, but we're not like grinding where you got to take everything, every like thing that hangs down, you got to grasp onto it. It's like, no, we can be a little more choosy about like, what we make.
We can pick our battles, but we're still going to fight in those battles.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I'm happy with where I'm at in my like career. I don't know if I want to make videos and photos and then have this be like my central money making way for the rest of my life, but like right now I'm gonna keep doing it and telling stories, because that's really why I got into this, is just like telling cool stories that people like and like to listen to and can relate to. Because like, I don't know, getting more philosophical, I guess, like my goals in life, deeper than just like career goals or whatever, are to bring people together and like make us all feel like we're not as separate as things in society are like pushing us apart. You know, it's like we're all just human beings. Like it doesn't matter how much money we have or how different we look or whatever. It's like we're all humans and we all can relate on a level. It just depends on like us being able to get to that equal level again. It's like we let things like status, money, and material, whatever, cloud the fact that we're all just humans. And like if you stripped everything away from like what you have and just put us in a room together, like would we be able to just talk and like interact, or or are all these things that define us really like what matter, you know? Because to me, like, I don't think material things like matter, because I've gone through life so far. I've accumulated money, I've accumulated stuff, and it helps me do things, but like the satisfaction I get doesn't come from things, you know, it comes from my interactions with people, and it comes from like moments that I share with people. Yes, maybe some of these tools help me get to these moments and are necessary, but those moments are what matter to me. And like my peace of mind matters to me. Like, we exist in New York City, a crazy, hectic, insane place, especially now with the virus and like even more anxiety. And like my goal is to have like peace of mind even in this chaos, you know? And I think if you can achieve that, then it's like you're really onto something. And like those are my goals in New York, is like I want to have peace of mind when it comes to like just my mental health, but also with my like career and the work that I'm doing. I want to be comfortable in the fact that like people trust me, trust my vision, and trust me to execute projects on like a large scale, because I'm capable and I'm happy to take that on. I just, you know, I don't want to be king of the world or anything, or like have the most money or control. I just want to be comfortable. I want my friends to eat and be comfortable. And I want us to like create stuff together that has meaning and has impact, and like, yeah, like brings people together even more. Like, instead of you look at this painting and you're like, oh, damn, I feel like separated from everyone. Like, no, you look at this video and you're like, oh, damn, that there's somebody out there like me who thinks like me, or that's weird, I didn't know anybody else out there did that or like that or whatever. So I'm just trying to tell those stories that like bring us together, and hopefully I can make some money doing that. That's what I'm trying to do, man.
Do you think that the present day state that we're in, with the virus, with losing work, with, I mean, especially in election year, so the anxiety is tuned way the fuck up. Do you think that has lit a fire under you to, I guess, like, re-examine yourself and your career path and your life path as a whole?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely given me more motivation to examine what I'm doing, how I'm making money, and what my impact is on the world. Because losing my job, it made me think like, okay, I don't have this job anymore. What should I do now? My options in my mind are go look for another job, another 9 to 5 working for a company, go back to doing freelance, try and make that work, or just completely find something new to do. And I know I'm not going to be comfortable right now working another 9 to 5 job. Like, I have a problem with authority. I don't like having bosses. And it's not that I just have a simple like problem with authority. It's like I have a problem with people above me making dumb decisions and then not being held accountable for their decisions. Dumb decisions. So I tend to get in squabbles and I call people out for shit that I may be out of place, but I don't give a fuck. So I don't even remember what we're talking about.
I was asking if the present day living in New York City with a pandemic and losing your job, if it's lit a fire under you to re-examine self and self-worth and all that, and like, has it sparked an interest in anything that maybe you've had on the back burner in your mind that now, like, for me personally, I've been editing for years and years now. I've had a couple 9 to 5s, and any time that I would be on set shooting, or just even being on set like as a DIT, I get so much more excitement, and it like adds to my yearning for being on set all the time and being behind the camera and being in control of things, and it chips away at my want and desire to be behind a computer editing. And now, granted, there's still things like the thing that I'm working with Lonnie, this documentary, that's kind of true to my heart. It feels good to like it. Kind of what you were just saying. It feels really good to tell a good story, especially one that will actually benefit people. Like I truly believe that it will, because it'll open up this like whole pocket and whole culture that perhaps not that many people know here. And to go deeper into that, I'm a big proponent of having conversations, especially if they make you feel uncomfortable. I think just in general,
Yeah.
getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is seldom talked about and seldom done. But I feel like it's very beneficial for the person, for self-growth, and I guess you could say building growing a thicker skin, or just having more of a thicker skin for life.
Well, it just like builds character to have hard conversations. Like, yeah, I gotta have hard conversations with like my relatives and shit. You know, like I got nieces and nephews who are teenagers, and like I gotta have hard conversations with them because the world is hard. And like I remember conversations I had with people older than me growing up that left an impact on me. I'm like, I need to have those uncomfortable conversations with like people I care about coming up, because, you know, like we can all question, like, is it my place to like talk to somebody about this? But like, that's just an excuse to hold you back from doing something that might be a little difficult, you know? And like, that's happened to me where I'm like, I don't know, is it even my place to call this out right now? Like when it comes to family or friends, or like your friends in a relationship, but it's like you can clearly tell like you two are kind of not vibing right. Like,
I mean, I get it, because sometimes you feel like it's maybe a subjective truth to you, and then you have to like analyze whether it's objective and obviously go from there.
Yeah, I guess my thing is like I don't want people to think I'm like meddling in their shit. I just always want to come from a place of like love and caring about people, and like I'm never going to call you out because I want to call you out and make you feel like shit. I'm calling you out because I recognize like you're doing something fucked up right now, and like somebody needs to call you out on it.
Yeah.
Because you need to be checked, you know? Like
like
we were talking earlier, like you fuck up, you need to be checked on it. Like, you know, that's just how it should be. And so, I don't know, it's hard to say like I think I definitely have re-examined a lot of my shit, and what I've come to realize, I don't want to be so individualistic as far as like my goals and my aspirations anymore. Like coming to New York, it's a grind, and you got to make it. You got to get to a certain point in New York where you're living comfortable enough that you can start thinking about more than just yourself, because it's like living here, you got to make enough money to pay for your apartment, to eat, and to like try and have fun if you can. And it takes a while to maintain that and to figure that out, unless, you know, you come from a bunch of money and already have that cushion. So I'm at that point, and it's weird that it's like losing my job and losing that financial security, losing, you know, just the security of having a job has like made me feel like, oh, well, I don't need to still like go out and just get another job so that I can be okay. Like I need to get back on like, yes, I need to achieve and pursue things that satisfy me, but I also need to pursue things that are going to help other people and aren't like inherently about me. You know, it's like go out and do something, put your effort towards something that doesn't give you any benefit really, like except for the satisfaction of like doing it. So I'm trying to do like more volunteer work, trying to just like literally clean up trash around my neighborhood more often, because like I live in South Second. Like actually, I'm not saying my goddamn address on here. I live in Williamsburg. Try to find me on South Second. But there's just trash everywhere. This is trash part of town. Like I love my neighborhood. It's a beautiful neighborhood. There's beautiful people there, but it is trash, litter everywhere. Like
it's interesting you say that, because I was talking about doing the same. Me and Lonnie took a walk recently, and we walked around Greenwood Cemetery. But like, you know, the roads around it, especially on the south side, they get pretty desolate because there's like the train depot,
Yeah.
like maybe a bus depot, whatever. But like people just park their cars, and that's like the local parking there, and that's about it. And we're walking down the sidewalk, and stuck between all the bushes and the ledge is just a shit ton of trash. And I started talking about how I was thinking about picking up trash even on Park Ave over here, just because, especially the closer you get to the projects, people are so congested and there isn't any trash cans, therefore there's just trash everywhere. And I feel like that, in my opinion, if you walk out of your house and you just see trash, you're gonna instantly feel like your life is trash. Like if you're just bombarded with seeing trash on your periphery and that's it, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's some type of psychological connection there. Like if that's what you see every single day, then it kind of like starts to dig in and become almost your identity.
Yeah, there's definitely something to that. And yeah, you walk out and see just litter everywhere every day. Your block is just like got mad trash all over, and it just becomes something you get used to, Like it takes going to another city or another place where the streets are mad clean for you to realize, oh, like maybe I shouldn't be used to this. That goes like definitely not going to get into all that now, but that goes to like the whole political atmosphere right now. Like Trump has done so much fucked up shit that he does more fucked up shit, and you're just like, oh, he's just doing more fucked up shit. I'm used to him doing fucked up shit now. So
yeah, it's like conditioning.
Yeah, exactly. And like, yeah, it's like that's the trash on the street. It's just like, fuck, this is how the streets look every day. So I'm just used to it. But yeah, I'm trying to like flip my perspective and be like, well, even though I'm used to this, I could still do something about it, even if it's going to be like a little impact. But I also know there's, with more people being out of work, more people are just doing volunteer stuff just to do stuff. And I know there's like groups all throughout Brooklyn, Manhattan, like trash cleanup groups, like going to clean up Herbert Von King Park in Bed-Stuy. Like I know that's going on, and I'm trying to like figure out how to get that started in my neighborhood, because there's mad people just sitting around doing nothing. Like you could be part of this trash thing and like meet people, network, like maybe get off the streets, help out your community. I know it's like all just fucking hopeful thinking, but I hope that just me being out there individually, like I made the decision today to spend a few hours just picking up trash on my street, not like, making anybody feel guilty like about not picking up trash. It's like, no, I'm just out here with my trash picker upper in a bag and I'm just doing my thing, because this like helps satisfy my soul, because I feel like I'm doing something for my community. I'm getting out, being active, and I'm using my time for a selfless act rather than like I'm gonna watch Netflix and get stoned, which is a selfish act, even though it's very fun.
No, I feel you. It's there's ways to, especially when it comes to promotion, there's ways to do things where it's inspiring, and then there's ways to do it where you're just like shaming the viewer.
Yeah,
I totally feel that.
I'm not about that. Like shame. I don't know if I want to get into this all right now, but like shame, jealousy, and envy are like three of my least favorite things in this world. Like jealousy and envy are the cause of so many problems in the world and throughout history. If people could just get over their jealousy and envy, we wouldn't have so many problems. But also, I mean, shame, it can be a byproduct of both of those things. But like also shame is responsible for so much bad shit in the world. And if people could just deal with their shame and figure out why they feel shame, then we'd all be better off. Because like we all need to examine ourselves way more, especially in these times of like social media, internet identity. Like our identities are stretched in so many different ways. Like a lot of people don't know who the fuck they are.
Yeah, you just get spread very thin.
And I'm not saying I got my whole self figured out. Like I work on this every day. I meditate, I do yoga, I like try and, write in my journal and like reflect, self-reflect. But it takes work. It takes work every day. And like, especially these days, yeah, when are stretched so thin, like it, more people need to do the work to figure out what internally their struggles are, what their trauma is, and how to deal with that instead of projecting it onto other people in the rest of the world. Because we got so much problems with that right now. It's just people projecting their shit, their trauma onto everybody else and not just dealing with it the way they should be dealing with it. Like, go to therapy. More of y'all, go to fucking therapy. Like, we all are struggling. We're all going through it right now. And we owe it to ourselves to not throw our shit in each other's faces because we don't have the like courage or we're too embarrassed to deal with it ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
And I see it all the time. So, yeah, figure your shit out.
Yeah, it's unbecoming of our society.
Hey, just talk it out. Have those hard conversations.
Basically, yeah.
That's it. Like, it sucks sometimes. You're going to probably lose some friends.
Well, what did I say?
But
having uncomfortable conversations and getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
yeah, exactly. I'll be better off.
Yeah. So, you know a lot of skateboarders, but you don't yourself skateboard.
Yes.
How did you find yourself becoming friends with all these skaters? Because, I mean, like I said before, that's how I had met you originally was through Spencer and Mojo.
Yeah. So in high school, you know, I was just liked everybody. I talked to everybody. Like, I played sports. I played hockey, and so I like rollerbladed, and I tried to do like inline. You know, I was a fruit booter, but I did not get down with it. I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna be like pro at this. I was always like, yeah, rollerblading's fun, but like jumping off stairs and grinding rails, like it's not that great. I always had way more respect, honestly, for skateboarders because like skateboard isn't attached to your feet, and I was like very impressed by a lot of the shit they were doing. And you know, homies of mine, like growing up in, you know, middle school, in high school, like watching hella skate videos, getting stoned, eating pizza. So I hung out with a lot of skaters. I have a lot of respect for skateboarding as a sport. And I think skateboarding itself is one of those things, like I was talking about, like my goals of like telling stories. Like, I look at skateboarding as this thing that just brings people together without language, without anything else. It's like, if you know how to ride this piece of wood with wheels on it, you can go anywhere in the world and you can find people who also fuck with that culture and you'll get along right away. And that's such like a beautiful thing, you know? And so I always just loved skateboarding culture. Like, I can skate, I can ride a skateboard, I can do a shitty ollie. I'm terrible besides that, but like, I still recognize how fun it is just as an activity of like, I'm gonna go outside and just skate for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours and just like blow off some steam. So everything about skateboarding I was like is fucking awesome. I fuck with the people, I fuck with the energy. I like even just hanging at the skate park and chilling like with the homies. And so I always had friends who skated. I've always loved skateboarding and just the culture, the style, the shoes, the whatever, everything. And so, yeah, like I've always just known people who skated, had friends who knew people who skated, lived with people who skated. And so it was always like just in the community and knew hella people. And everybody who's always been in the community has been super cool and embraced me. And so it's been a community that I've been like happy to be a part of throughout my life. That's
well said. That's pretty much every reason that I think most of us skateboarders were drawn to it in the first place, and also many aspects of what we found through it. Like, so many people always say, like, you could pull up to a different city, meet up with some skateboarder or meet some random skateboarders at the spot, and within 2 hours you'd be smoking and drinking and have a place to stay for like 2 nights.
Yeah, and like that's a beautiful thing about community like that, is when you can have like hospitality and camaraderie like that just because you guys ride a piece of wood.
Yeah. Nerds. So, unrelated, but the last question about second to last question. You had posted some photos a couple months ago of this woman, Anna Louise Wagner, and then subsequently you also posted some shit that looked like a porno between you and your girl.
Yeah.
What is the story behind this person, this model, I imagine, and the risque photo shoots that you did with her?
So Annalisa is an artist. She's not just a model. She's an amazing photographer, artist, multi-talented goddess. And I met her back when I was working at Complex. I was trying to film a music video for my homie's band. Shout out Night Moves, best band out of Minneapolis. Get familiar. I was shooting a video for Night Moves, and I just wanted this part in the video. It was like a tour type of video, you know, just like band on tour, having fun, traveling around. And I wanted one section of the music video to feature like a girl who was kind of like, oh, they show up to this town and like this is like one of their girls type of vibe. And so I talked to a friend at Complex, asked her to do it. She wasn't available, but recommended her friend, Annalisa, to do it. And so I hit her up, went to her apartment, like filmed her rolling a blunt on VHS. She was like wearing the band's like sweatshirt. And that was it. That was the whole shoot. But got to know her that day and just like followed each other on Instagram, stayed in touch. And, you know, would just like see her wild adventures, like doing her thing, creating. And so, yeah, we just stayed in touch. And then I've always been into, you know, more risque, sexy shit. Like, I think
I've seen your videos, I know.
You know, as humans, we're sexual beings, and, you know, there's no shame in that either. It's like, let your freak flag fly. So I had always wanted somebody who I trusted enough to film and photograph me fucking, to capture like that intimate experience of physical love. And so, you know, based on Annalisa's work, I knew she would probably be down, and like she definitely was. She said she was like very honored to do this. And so I didn't want it to just be like, oh, come through and film me and my girlfriend fuck. It's like I gotta, you know, think of like a bigger story and make this into like a whole thing. So I came up with this like loose concept for this short film that was just kind of like two friends having a night together, and then like this random dude shows up.
This sounds like a porn already.
And yeah, I mean, it, like the whole film is like very porno vibes, but like not modern Pornhub porno vibes. It's like 70s like plot based porn vibes. So that was like the whole style was just like, yeah, short film, but like feels very sexy from the start, and feel like you're like getting a little peep into these people's, you know, intimate times. And so, yeah, I rented an Airbnb, got down, did the thing, and yeah, like check that out on YouTube, Seam Drip Dream. There's a, you know, don't tell YouTube this, but there's like a quick quarter second flash of, you know, me actually getting it in. But I covered it, like I tried to like manipulate it with like video effects to make it look like the Spice Channel. So it was like scrambly porn. That was cool. It's like one of my favorite things, because like it only got taken off of Instagram recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Haters. But yeah, that was a super fun night, and I encourage everybody, you know, find somebody you're comfortable with to film and take pictures of you and your girl or your guy or whatever your partnership is, you know. Watch your intimacy. Take notes. See what works. See what doesn't. Just enjoy your bodies. Don't be ashamed of your bodies.
Yeah,
Love your bodies.
Respect it.
So that was fun. I was just like, yeah, that was the idea. I just had wanted to want some personal shots, for the archives. Yep.
Of course. Now, as a straight white dude taking photos like risque, because you had shot Annalisa.
Mm-hmm.
You had shot Annalisa a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
In such a world where I don't want to say that it's frowned upon, but like I guess in a very Me Too climate, and especially after people like Terry Richardson, or I'm sure there's other photographers or videographers that I've at least heard of that have been like a little too touchy and made the girl feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
How do you navigate that process of the shoot? Because like personally I don't think I've ever shot like a nudie on a set.
Well, it's different, I guess, for the stuff that I do because I only shoot like nude models if I know them personally. And so I've known Annalisa for a long time and we're comfortable together, and she's also very comfortable and like owns her nudity, and so that makes it just better for everybody on set because it's like, oh my God, she's naked. It's like, no, this is a professional environment and we're all just doing our job. So my approach is like, I just make sure beforehand, like we have a conversation about everything that I want to do so that everything is in her mind. Like she knows my goals and like what I want out of this shoot. And we just go from there. And it's just, it's like, it's all about vibes, really. It's like, if the vibes are right, you can feel that they're right and you can keep going and you can push boundaries a little bit, but also still like making sure, checking in. 'Cause yeah, like my shit in photo shoots and video shoots is I want to capture genuine emotion. And when somebody's uncomfortable, you can tell, and I can tell through that imagery that they're uncomfortable. And so I don't want that to happen. And a lot too that contributes to like, especially when I'm shooting women, is I'll have my girlfriend be there with me. She's like my partner on these shoots. She's held like I'm taking care of like the technical stuff, the making sure the lights, camera, like settings and everything is looking good. But she's like making sure the model is feeling okay and is like watching her move and like making suggestions like, oh, like maybe a little makeup here would like help set this off, or try sitting like this because it looked like when you were like that. She notices things that I don't notice because I'm paying attention to other things.
Yeah.
And also like having my girlfriend on set shooting like a nude woman is like, oh, this dude isn't trying to fuck me.
Yeah, true.
So, that just helps create comfort. But I have shot with just like women before, not necessarily nude. And like my philosophy is always just to make them feel as comfortable as possible, tell them everything I have in mind for the photo shoot before going in so they're not caught off guard and like in the middle of something and they feel like pressured to do it because whatever. So yeah, it's just like clear communication and trust and establishing that from the very get-go before any shots are taken. Like that's the most important thing for sure.
Respect. What can we expect out of you next? Like what you brought up a couple of options just a minute ago, whether you want a 9-to-5 or freelance or try to volunteer more. What do you think you're going to do with all this new reassessment of yourself?
My goals are to do more personal projects. Like I got the Pandemic Partners project that I'm working on that's going to be ongoing for at least the next like 6 months. You can expect more of my art that's just my art. It's not me making somebody else's dreams come true or helping somebody realize their vision. It's me realizing my vision and putting that out into the world and hoping people fuck with it, because I've spent a good portion of my career working for companies, making their videos come about, making their goals and their campaigns happen. And And so my goals now are to make my stuff happen. And in addition to that, to help people and to help my community more and do more like selfless things that are just gonna, they'll bring me satisfaction like in my heart and my soul, because that's what helping others does. But I'm ultimately not getting anything financially or materially out of it. I'm just volunteering or helping or picking up trash or doing whatever. So that's what I want to focus more of, is like, yeah, selfishly making my own shit, but also like selflessly trying to engage in activities that are going to help the community, going to help whoever, like not even the community. I'll work with dogs and animals. Like, I don't care. I just want to put good energy out into the world and hope that energy comes back to me, and just make cool shit and tell cool stories and not be an asshole. I'm an asshole sometimes, but
we all can be.
I don't want to be. Yeah, that's it. Just trying to put stuff out there. Like, I want to actually like get my stuff more organized. I want to have like a monthly newsletter. I want to have like things that aren't just as sporadic of like, oh, here's a random video after 6 months. I want to get more on top of like organizing my stuff and having like a more thought out rollout and like promotion for it. It just takes work, and sometimes I get lazy.
Yeah, but you and I were also people that want to be, once again, on set and capturing the action and not trying to like spend hours on a calendar and like make a whole rollout schedule for yourself. You know what I mean? I understand it.
Yeah.
It's a toss up.
Yeah, so it's like doing more of that, but also not doing too much of it where I'm like, I hate my life now. It's just, getting more organized, but also being more free. A lot of this, I feel like what I'm saying is counterintuitive, but you guys get it. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the end of that.
Toy. Shout out my mom. Shout out my dad. Big bro, I see you. Shout out my girl. Shout out my dog, Andrea. Woof. You hear me, girl? We gonna make it. Shout out the South Side. Big up my guy Mookie, the homie at the bodega who sells me my sandwiches. Always says the price is $13,000 when it's really $13. Ha! You're hilarious, bro.
My deli guy used to do that too.
It's a deli guy thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Thanks for talking with me, man. It's fun.
Thanks for pulling up.
For sure.